Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of Tonetic Records podcast. I am the social media manager at Tonetic Records. Tonetic Records is a newly established record label led by young individuals based in Cliftonville, Margate. Tonetic Records aims to provide a platform for the talented young voices of Thanet and Kent. We're going to share some upcoming updates around our artists, because in December we had a showcase, an end of year show to highlight all of our amazing talent and their new releases. Over the past year. So performing was Ruby Tipple, Alhan and SAPHYR, and they've all been busy crafting new music. Ruby Tipple, who we interviewed last, has had a new album All the Days out, and since she's been performing around various gigs. To check her page to find latest information of when she will be performing. Alhan has been busy making music, with her new single dropping next month, with more to follow. But her latest single, Got No Love, has been featured on Radio 1, which was just amazing. And as for SAPHYR, we have the privilege of him being here today in the studio to talk all about his new album, District Zero, which is available to stream now. And just here to give us a glimpse on his music making process. So SAPHYR, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into music?
So it's not really that interesting, really. But the way I got into music was when I was a young age, probably about 5. My granddad gave me, and I literally mean this, a fat stack of his rock and roll CDs, because I always used to listen to it with him, and he noticed how I got really interested in it, so he decided to pass them down to me. And over my younger years, I constantly listened to them up in my room, just throughout the day, do you know what I mean? And then yeah, that's how that came about. And then from lockdown really onwards, I wanted to venture into a new kind of way. Like, I wanted to find a hobby, because I sat down doing nothing, played PlayStation, whatever. Didn't really do anything. So I started creating music because my favourite artist had just passed, and it was kind of an inspiration thing, as it had just happened, that I wanted to make music. So I started making my own music, releasing it, and then I got a connection with Tonetic Records, like ArtZX, Tonetic Records, whatever, and then it's just gone from there really, to albums and singles and all that, performing. Yeah, that's how I got into music.
That's sounds really cool. I love that it went from your granddad and stuff. That's really nice. Well, congratulations on all your recent releases. You've been busy, to say the least. Starting with Lipton Ice. What inspired you to kind of create this track?
So I remember this fairly well. So I wasn't actually meant to be in the day that I actually recorded this song. Because Tom unfortunately got ill, but I had made the trip up to Margate at the time, and I'd spoke to one of the other people here, and they were like, "Oh, Ryan, you can just come down and just record something, just be down there by yourself." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." So I came down there, and I kind of thought, what am I going to write about? Because I had a bit of a mental block. So I decided to write about a recurring dream. It still happens now sometimes. It's really weird. And so I decided about writing upon this dream. And it's all about a party, nightclub kind of scene. And yeah, that's where the inspiration from that, and some of the yellow cable references and stuff like that, was a lot of neon signs within the dream. That's one of the I can never remember the actual story properly behind the dream, but I can only remember almost photographic images of it, and one of the pictures I can remember is neon lights. So that's where the yellow cable lyric came from. But that's how Lipton Ice came about. It was really a day that I probably, if I hadn't have asked to come down here by myself, I probably would have never recorded that song. That song probably would have never have came out. So, yeah.
That's crazy. It's like fate, really.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favourite songs I've ever made. And I don't know why. I just feel I don't know. I just feel like it shows a step up between the music that I used to make to the music I make now. So I feel like that's where it holds a special place in my heart, because I can see how much I've changed throughout the last couple of years or so. So that's where it holds a special place in my heart, really.
I love that. I guess you kind of answered that, but the other question was like, so why did you, I guess, choose Lipton Ice as leading single, but you kind of did just, I guess.
Yeah, I felt like I should really release the most recent song I had made, because the songs I made previously were nothing like Lipton Ice. So I really just wanted to show the difference in style and quality, and all that, really. That's why I wanted to release it first, so I could show that I've changed as an artist. So that's why I chose to release it first.
Yeah. Now the same with Distant Zero. Can you share some details on like what listeners can expect when they do, let's tune into it?
So District Zero is a bit of a wild one. It's a wild listen. It's pretty much fiction. It's a fiction tale kind of thing, and that's what I'm going on for my next 2 albums, but I'll cover that in a sec. And so the story behind it is the geostorms, the natural disasters, and all that.
So are there any specific themes or messages in Distant Zero that you're like trying to convey within it?
So the story is pretty interesting, really. It all is based off a 3 trilogy album. So obviously you got District Zero that released a couple of weeks ago, and then you've got the next 2 albums from the trilogy, which is Eternal Summer and The Final Zero. And District Zero is like the first major part of the story, which is basically this town. Never decided a name for the town, but this place kind of has these just wild geostorms and natural disasters happening just like unexpectedly, and it's just about battling it out, and upon the way you find love and all that wild stuff happens. And then Eternal Summer, it's like it's all stopped. You've survived through it all, and it's like the summer where everything's fine. You live a normal life, like COVID, really. Like when we had our lockdowns, and then when we came out of lockdown, that's also where it was almost inspired from, was the stages of lockdown. So obviously going into the initial COVID lockdown, and then the coming out for that summer period where we could all live a normal life because there was no restrictions, and then going back into the second lockdown. That's where the story really based from in my mind. But yeah, so the Eternal Summer album is just a happy kind of album where everything's perfect, everything's right, everything's going well. It's almost like a beach holiday kind of thing. That's how I always think of it in my mind. And then towards the end of the album, things start to go upside down again, and that's how you get into the Final Zero, which is the final album of the trilogy, where it's kind of like the final boss. So it's like you find out that there's like a man behind all these storms, controlling them, and basically battle it out as a team. So you find like friends along the way, and you come together as a group to like battle this boss, to defeat him, and then the world turns back to normal, and that's the end of the trilogy. It's a bit of a bit of a mess. It's like FNAF lore. It's not very. It's a bit wild. We'll leave it that way. I
guess it's a bit about life though, because that's how life really is as well.
Yeah, that's where like the COVID like incidents happen. That's where the kind of inspiration happened from the album, and then I've built it into like a fictional story. Yeah.
I like thank you for sharing like the detail. I really went into detail of that. So yeah. Could you like walk us through your, I guess, songwriting process?
I don't really have a songwriting process. I usually just chuck a beat on, find a beat, and then just think about what's on my mind, because I've always got stuff on my mind. I've always got I've always got things running around in my head. So I always try to deep the thing that that's on my mind, and then go from there. Or if like I've had a dream or something, I will focus on that and build upon that as a song. I don't really have a writing process. I just go as I go. Do you know what I mean? I don't have a specific way of doing anything.
Yeah, that's it's cool that it is that way. Where do you, I guess, draw the inspiration from writing your songs? Like, is there like specific artists or moments in your life?
So the inspiration comes from a lot of artists, really. I think the more I've like thought about it, I see the inspiration coming from UK artists, because I want to see the UK scene succeed. Because all of my favorite artists are all from America, and I just want to see our kind of UK scene succeed. So I'm kind of inspired by the likes of Central C, who got like his first so Lyrical Lemonade has always had like US artists, and for the first time Central C was their first English artist who managed to get a video for them. So that was kind of like a big eye opener that it is possible. Well, anything's possible, but it was a big moment for the UK industry. And Pink Pantheress doing a great job. She's made it big into the US scene, but she's made the UK scene bigger in that process. So there's a lot of inspiration from Central C and Pink Pantheress, but US artist wise, the reason, if it weren't for these artists, I wouldn't have been doing music. So the likes of Ski Mask, Slump God, Juice WRLD, Dro Kenji, Midwest, they're all people who I've been inspired by along the way. Yeah.
Did you face any challenges when creating any of your tracks? And if so, how did you overcome them?
So over the course of time, I went through like a mental block of writing. I don't know why, it just happens. I still face it sometimes nowadays, but I find it easier to give myself a break from writing and focus on another aspect. So maybe like doing a music video, or I don't know, trying to learn something new. So maybe how to like promote stuff, etc. Like just learning. So instead of releasing the music, teaching myself something new, and then coming back to the music when I've finally got an idea, and then usually after that I can write 8 songs in a row without a single issue. And after that I've also learnt something in the process with the time I would have been writing music. So I feel like that's how I overcome that issue.
I guess we already asked that one. For your musical, I guess how do your musical influences shape your music?
What do you mean by that?
So you're like influenced by Juice WRLD and other people. Like how I guess do they shape or like inspire the music like in some ways?
I feel like they both have different like inspirational reasons. So Juice WRLD is almost the style of music I want to make. Dro Kenji is almost the reason why I've kept going with it, because obviously I've literally been around since he had hundreds of monthly listeners to now hundreds of thousands, millions. So it's a big eye opener of how quick things can turn around and how unexpected it is. Midwest, it's a really random thing, but I hit him up one day because I saw he had a show, but I didn't manage to get tickets, unfortunately. And I hit him up and I was just like, I really want to go. And he was like, oh, I've got a couple of questions for you. And I was in the studio on this day, and I was in the middle of writing my song, so I wasn't thinking straight. So I answered his question, but I don't think I actually answered the question. I was like, I can't think. My mind's blank. And he was like, yo, I got one more question for you. And I was like, yeah, what? Just ask me anything. And he was like, what's your name? So I told him my name. And he was like, right, I'll see you tonight, Ryan. And I was like, my God. So literally, I rushed out of this studio. I went straight down to the train station, got the train home, and me and my dad went straight up to London. And honestly, I think he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He had a lot of time for me. And I always remember, like, after his show, when I walked up to like the set, and the guy was like, "Oh, Ryan's here," and his eyes like shot open. It was so cool. It was just like, I don't know, it was just a magical moment. And then we've got, who else did I say, Central C and Pink Pantheress. So that they make sick music besides, but the reason why I'm inspired by them is by what they've done in the UK music scene, and it's inspired me to do more for the UK music scene, so I can push and help other people become more successful in the scene as well. Like, I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it for all the other UK artists, because I want us to expand.
Yeah. I love that. What lesson have you learned on your journey with music so far, or lessons? It could just be one, depends.
I haven't really learned. It's a hard one, really, because everything's just come along the way. So I haven't specifically like gone out my way to learn something. I've taken it very subtly, because I'm not very good with like watching YouTube videos. I'm very good with like somebody showing me in person. So the more connections I've made, the more people I've had show me things. So the more things I've learned over time. So I've just learned how to mix and master on Logic. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm sure better than I was 2 years ago. I've learned how to control my vocals, because if you listen to some of my earlier recordings, you would have wanted to take the headphones straight out. And just simple little things like mastering and like, what's the word, like confidence. I feel like I lacked a lot of confidence when I first started making music, and now I'm as confident as anything, really. I mean, I've still got a few flaws, but I feel like they will come over the coming years, so exciting times.
Yeah. Are there any songs on your album that hold a special like significance to you personally? Like, and if so, like which one or ones?
Both the singles, really, Lipped and Ice and Distant Zero. Distant Zero preferably because it's about somebody I really loved and how I got portrayed, but I also tried to follow the style of like the fantasy part of the album, so it doesn't really tell the story fully. It kind of mixes matches fiction with real life, kind of. I feel like that's what the whole album is fiction mixed with a few like stories from real life. But as I move away from this trilogy, I'll open up more until the stories of my own life, once I've got all this fiction stuff out of the way, because I feel like it's all cool and well doing all this fiction stuff, but I feel like I need to open up my heart more as an artist in the future, when doing future releases.
So from listening to your music, which is so cathartic, on your like own personal journey and experience with how you tell a story so powerfully, and with like the exploration of the very real and raw themes of love, connection and isolation, but like you tell it in a way which is like told through the fictional world and characters, is like it's resonating and a real source of comfort to like those who are struggling. So like, how does it feel to know like your lyrics act as a comfort to others who are struggling or have been through similar experiences, I guess, that you've been through?
That coming into this journey, like coming into making music, that's exactly how I wanted it to come out. I wanted to make other people feel the way I did when I listened to all my favourite artists, feeling some connection, almost feeling like they're your friend, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then they're not your real life friend, but you feel like you have some connection to them. They've gone through some of the stuff that you've gone through. So it's sick. If that's what happens, that's dope as hell. But yeah, that amazing.
And is it healing to write down and express your feelings through your music, and then coming off that, when you come out of a recording session, like, do you feel more lighter after, I guess, like, releasing all of what's going on?
As I said, my brain has usually got a lot going on. So coming into a recording session and usually recording a song usually empties my brain, and by the time I come out of the session, my brain's almost feels empty. It's not empty, but you know what I mean. It feels a lot easier because I've just erased some, not erased, but you know what I mean. I've moved on from some of the things that I've put it down in the song. I've got my feelings out, you know, put it to bed. They'll come back up probably in a week's time, but you know, I've put it to bed there and then, and yeah.
How did it feel to perform your new tracks at the, like, Tonetic showcase and, like, perform them in front of a live audience?
See, this is one of the things that I've always loved about music, is the art of performing. So from a very young age, from about 3, 4, I did performing arts, and I've always loved performing in front of an audience. Like, I used to do, like, acting shows like Peter Pan and, you know, all your, like, theatre-esque stuff. And coming in as an artist, being able to perform my own things in front of a loving crowd is so cool. I will always remember the days that the crowd has turned up for me and given me the energy. It's some of the best days of my life. I'll never forget the energy from some of the shows.
I guess, like, how did you feel making the music video for Lipton Ice?
So the music video for Lipton Ice was it was a one-take video mixed with a bit of B-roll BTS footage. It was very cool to edit and see the process of editing the video. But yeah, I just really like the scenery from the video, really, because it's like the background of my cover art for Lipton Ice, and then being able to put it in the video as well is kind of cool. So yeah, I love the video. You should check it out. It came out like yesterday. So YouTube, guys, YouTube, go watch it.
So, like, looking to the future, where do you want your music to take you, I guess?
I don't try to focus on the future. Like, I have my dreams and I have my aspirations, but I don't expect myself to go on to be this multi-million followed artist with all this success, because it's very hard. I mean, if you work hard, it pays off, but you've just got to focus on here and now, and whatever happens in the future is a bonus. You just got to work hard for it. So in the future, I'd love to be able to do more shows, connect with other artists, share my music, share my knowledge, and then hopefully bigger things will come, and that's where my dreams come true, really.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's one of the last questions. This is the last question. What advice do you have for, like, young aspiring artists who are looking to follow a similar path to you?
Do what you want to do. Don't listen to any other people. Don't let any hate get to you, because earlier on in my career, but earlier on in my, like, music writing, whatever you want to call it, I got a lot of hate, and I almost stopped making music because of it. But I've realised it empowers me more to want to do better, so I use it as a form of inspiring myself to do better and work harder on the things that I love. So just do what you want to do, and don't let anybody distract you or make you feel less empowered to the things that you want to do.
That's great advice. Well, thank you, SAPHYR, for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. Lastly, where can people follow you and find your music to stay updated on your journey?
So you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, Deezer, whatever music platform you could ever consider. It will be on there under the name SAPHYR, SAPHYR. Yeah, and if you want to check out the music videos, they're all on YouTube. Great watch.
And to keep up to date with Tonetic Records, you can follow our Instagram page, and we're just launching a TikTok page.
That's going to be sick, by the way.
And also, obviously your music videos just dropped, so check YouTube channel out for that.
Cool. That's it. Bang in.